sitting on a medieval privy. Good morning and welcome to the 9th day of my tour around Provence. Just been having a walk along the River Rhône. It's absolutely delightful here in the early morning. And in this video I'm going to take a walk through the town of Villeneuve-les-Avignon and make my way up to the Fort Saint-André. Big castle here on the other side of the Rhône River. Got Avignon on one side and Villeneuve-les-Avignon on the other. But just ahead of me is Phillippe-le-Bel Tower, and this marked the French side of the Benizat Bridge. This is the bridge I visited the other day, the Pont d'Avignon, the one that goes only halfway into the river. The tower was completed in 1302 and takes its name from the French king, Phillippe-le-Bel, or Philippe the Fair. And he was responsible for the construction of this tower. The St. Benizat Bridge was abandoned in 1669, and the fortress, well, it was no longer needed as a fortress. Now this is the Benizat Bridge that I was on the other day, le Pont d'Avignon, the famous bridge that everybody comes here to see. And the 22 arches that span the bridge span the River Rhine, the island in the middle, and the second part of the River Rhine, which leads onto this side of the river. The bridge must have looked absolutely incredible, but only half the bridge remains today, and this marvellous tower at one end. So let's walk a little further and have a look at this tower. The French crown continued to pay for repairs after 1669, but after the French Revolution, the buildings were left to fall into disrepair, and in 1822, the town of Villeneuve decided to pull down the fortified structure that was here, just leaving the tower that remains. And it does look absolutely fascinating from the outside. Let's go inside and take a look. Wow, climbing up another tower. I do like climbing up towers. And I know that many of my viewers like to see me climb up towers. But as this one goes, it's not the highest as I've climbed. This one's only 128 feet, or 39 metres. The Asnelli Tower in Bologna last year was noticeably a lot taller. Let's see where we're going here. looking at the displays on the first floor. First floor would have been the main reception area, and the ground floor where all the guards would have been. Got the next set of steps onto the upper level, and the second level wasn't built until 1350, some 50 odd years after the first floor and the ground floor. This is quite different up here. Feels a lot older compared to the ground floor and the first floor. That's probably just because there are no displays up here. That gives that impression. It really is quite remarkable just sitting here and looking at the room. Again, a lovely old vaulted ceiling. And there's a lovely old door in one of the alcoves. Absolutely incredible to see that old door. It must have been from when the tower was built over 700 years ago. Absolutely incredible. I do like seeing old doors. That's one of the oldest I've seen in a castle. It's interesting to see a niche up on the wall, a little hole in the wall, what, about 30 feet up. There's a couple of putlock holes as well, but quite a few of those down on the first floor. Now let's go up to the next level and up to the roof. It's quite good value coming in here. Only €4.50. Wasn't too bad. I thought it might have been a little bit more. It's actually lovely. Just past another put-log hole. This one actually has a log in situ. Put-log holes were used as scaffolding in the construction of the tower. Let's go round and up the steps, up onto the roof. There we go. Oh my goodness. And wow, just look at these views. They are amazing. You can see right across the River Rhône and into Avignon. Let's turn the camera around. Absolutely amazing looking at that on the other side. You can see the Palais du Pape, and underneath that the entrance to the Balazet Bridge, the famous Pont d'Avignon. Of course, this is the other end. So had the bridge been intact, we'd be looking out over a whole bridge across the Rhine and the island in the middle. It's absolutely incredible. And then the camera, turn it around and see the road bridge which I crossed this morning to walk here. It's absolutely brilliant. And the huge castle up at the end, Fort Saint-André, looks absolutely incredible, sat up on the hillside. And that's my next destination. I can't wait to go over there. It looks quite incredible and very imposing from this height looking down onto the castle. In between me and the castle at the moment is the town of Villeneuve-les-Avignon, and that's where I'm going to go next. Have a walk around the town and head up to the castle. So I'll leave you with some views overlooking the River Rhône, the town of Villeneuve and Avignon. just walked into the town. It's absolutely beautiful here, but it's so busy. And the main road through the town, just too busy for this type of town. This should be a quiet little back street, peaceful little village, atmosphere, but it's not. It's just car after car after car. Modern cars do spoil the historic atmosphere of towns and villages. Even though we rely on them to get around, they really are a bit of a curse on our peace and quiet. But this is absolutely beautiful. A little back street here. I don't know where this goes, but the architecture of Villeneuve is absolutely beautiful. Most of the stonework for the buildings came from the old town walls and parts of the bridge that were pulled down in what, 1822, I think I said. But yeah, it's just beautiful. Another little village here that just ticks all the boxes when it comes to beautiful French towns. Absolutely beautiful. And there's a little market square as well here. This is beautiful. Quintessentially French. And absolutely beautiful. Everyone going about their business, going to the bakers and having coffees and market stalls. Really is absolutely beautiful here. Just stopped off in this little market square. Loads of restaurants here. There's also a little market as well. And this restaurant, it looks absolutely, just looks so inviting. But I'm glad I stopped because it really is quite pleasant here. I've ordered a ravioli dish. Not quite sure what's inside it. I couldn't really read the menu. But I recognise the word ravioli, so I thought I'd give it a go. Wow, that's delicious. I think it's got some vegetables in it and some cheese on the top. Very, very pleasant indeed. I do like my Italian food. And this one tastes even better because it's been sponsored. So, thanks, Mum. Yes, Mummy has been on to buy me a coffee and bought several coffees, which was enough to purchase this delightful meal. And I got a Perrier as well. Can't get more French than a Perrier. That's lovely, it really is. Very refreshing, cool iced Perrier and some Italian pasta here in the delightful setting of this market square. And if you'd like to get a mention on my channel, and do as my mummy did, then follow the link in the description below and you too can get a mention on my channel. So I'm going to finish my delicious pasta dish and then walk around the town a little more and head up towards the castle, somewhere I've been looking forward to going since I booked this trip about 5 months ago. Lunch was delicious. do like my Italian food, and that was a delicious little ravioli au gratin, well, vegetarian ravioli au gratin with butternut squash and a little sauce, and served with some rocket as well. And I ate it all up. It was lovely. Nice to have Italian food with a little French twist. And this is a beautiful little side street. Lovely architecture here and very interesting stone buildings. This is really rather delightful. I've seen similar architecture in some of the other towns and places I've visited here in Provence. It's absolutely lovely. You can see why it's popular with tourists. These quaint little back streets really are very picturesque indeed. I'm hoping that this road goes up towards the castle. Nice to have a wander up there and see what else I can discover here in the back streets of Villeneuve. It really is absolutely beautiful up here. One of the things I like about exploring different places is seeing unusual things and unusual sights and picturesque sights as well. And the view from here, looking over the town of Villeneuve towards Avignon and Phillippe-le-Bel Tower, where I was this morning, it's absolutely brilliant. And this is a view that's unchanged in hundreds of years. It really is absolutely delightful. And just a little further on here, I can see the tower of the castle. This castle looks absolutely formidable. Huge round towers at the front and an impressive entrance gate in between. This castle made a statement when it was built. Absolutely incredible. And it's in such brilliant condition as well. So let's walk through the gates. This is a very well fortified gatehouse as well. You can see the windows on the sides. The occupants of the castle could fire in at anybody who was inside this gatehouse. And there's the running slots for very impressive portcullis as well. And high up on the in the roof, you can see the holes again where people could have fired down on any attacker who was inside the gatehouse. This is beautiful in here. It really is. Absolutely amazing in there. Lovely high ceiling And you can see the put log holes around the top of the wall, where I think another floor would have been. It's actually really interesting in there, and seeing the model of the picture on the wall of the castle and of the Benezat Bridge as well, and how that would have looked when it was complete. But now let's head on up through the gates here and into the castle. Began building the castle around the year 1314, built by Phillippe-le-Bel. He was the chap who built the tower that we saw this morning. And the castle was built at the high point, 68 metres above the river, overlooking the town of Avignon. This must have been quite some castle in its day. The ruins are still very impressive as I walk up this path. Philip IV, Phillippe-le-Bel, built a new city on the west bank to compete with Avignon. The Mount fortifications were built under the direction of Jean le Bon during the time of the insecurity caused by the 100 Years' War. This is while the popes were living in Avignon. Now the fort lost its strategic role when Provence once again became part of France in 1481. Even more so once the Rhone riverbed moved 900 metres away from the mount in 1770. The fort was maintained by the military authorities until 1792, and it was listed as an historical monument in 1906. The castle walls are some of the best preserved that I've actually seen on my travels around Europe. They really are in remarkable condition given their age. Just here you can see the put log holes on the walls. These were put in to put the scaffolding up for the construction of the castle and the walls. And you can see the arrow slit window there as well. Very easy to fire out at an enemy who's approaching, and very difficult to fire in with any accuracy because of the narrowness on the other side of the wall. Coming down here, there's another section of ruined wall here, and it looks like there's a way up to the ramparts. I can see other people up there, so that'll be interesting to get up the top there. Walk down these steps, you can see the markings on the wall which show where some steps would have gone up to the ramparts. Obviously been lost to time. Let's just see what's down here. Just on the left here is the Belvedere Chapel. Now this was the parish chapel up until about the end of the 14th century. So go up these steps and take a look inside. It's lovely, the sun's come out. Actually had a little bit of rain when I was having my lunch, and I was just hoping that it would clear up, but it has. The forecast was for a little rain around lunchtime, so hasn't inconvenienced me too much. Okay, just going through the door. Oh wow. Wow. What a beautiful little chapel. See the altar. Seating on the sides. And there's an upstairs level as well. Obviously you reach from the little gate on the left as you come in. Really rather interesting. And there's the remains of a wall mural as well. Wow, it looks like somebody on a cross. So that's Jesus. I think he's on a cross. It's very difficult to see, it's very faint. I'd like to think it was Jesus on the cross. I think someone's graffitied on it as well, and they've tried to rub it out, which is not good. Why do people do these things? I just don't know. Wall mural has been here for 700 years, and somebody puts graffiti on it. I don't know. It's beautiful in this little chapel. Very similar to the Benezet chapel on the bridge yesterday, well, the day before. Very simple in design, and just simple stonework and simple benches. Really rather nice. Well, let's head on up and try and see if we can't walk on the ramparts. I've seen people up there, so let's see how we get up there. Just head down these steps into the Mask Tower. It's called the Mask Tower. It takes its name from the provincial Masco, meaning witch or magician. And this tower was designed to attract all the evil spirits from the castle and put them into one place. As you go in, looks like there's a dungeon on the right hand side. Wow. This is a bit of an atmosphere in here, but there's a lovely old door as well. I do love seeing old doors in churches and in old castles. That's a particularly fine example. 3 latches, 3 bolts, and a central lock. Wow. Let's go through to the main part of the tower. Just through here. Again, very high vaulted ceiling, and you can see the putlock holes around the sides from the time when the tower was constructed. But what is interesting is the graffiti that's on the walls. Some were made by guards and prisoners, and there are also some masons' marks as well. Very interesting to see those. Really lovely. I think some of the blocks have got symbols on. Maybe they were indicating where they should be put, or they are just marks by masons. There's one with an arrow on it. Obviously it was carved to face a certain way. So it's interesting to see these. There are quite a few seating recesses into the wall, but the one behind me is slightly different because there's only a seat on one side. It looks like the wall has been blocked up. Now I put my camera over the top to see what was inside, and it looks like it was a privy. They're very common in castles, so I wonder why this one was blocked up and when. But it's very interesting to see a privy in the castle, especially as no one gets to see it because it's walled up. Really interesting, this room. Don't come across many rooms like this with this level of graffiti and a hidden privy. But let's head up the stairs onto the top of the towers and walk along the ramparts. I really am in my element, just walking around castles like this, climbing stairs, because you just never know just what you're going to find. There's a room at the top here. Let's go through. And this is another prison cell. It's directly above the cell we were in a few minutes ago. There's quite an echo in here as well. This one has a more modern door on the front, but it's still very recognisable as a cell. I've seen similar rooms in other castles all around Europe. Really is interesting. The floor is very uneven. Must have been very difficult to sleep on. Very uncomfortable. There's a little bridge here which crosses the entrance into the tower where I came in a few minutes ago. And back onto the spiral stairs. Wow. Having great fun exploring this castle. Absolutely brilliant. And here I am on top of the tower. Let's just walk up these steps here and take a look at the views. It's absolutely wonderful. Wow, you get a great view of the twin towers of the gatehouse where I came into the castle. And looking across into Avignon, it does look absolutely beautiful from up here. And you can see the Phillippe-le-Bel Tower, the old tower that I was at this morning, looking really nice in the sunshine. Absolutely brilliant. Nice spacious area up here. Let's walk back down and walk over to the other wall, and you can see the chapel where I've just come from. Absolutely brilliant. Ah, this was well worth coming up here, exploring an old castle, looking at views. Absolutely wonderful. Now let's head on to the top of the gatehouse. So I go down these steps here. Just imagine what these walls must have been like 700 years ago, after the castle was built. Imagine soldiers up here looking over the surrounding countryside, keeping guard in the little guard tower, the watchtower here, with their weapons pointing through the slits in the wall. As I walk on the top of the tower, I can look over and see the Benedictine Abbey that's also up here. I'll have to do that on another occasion. Just too much to do in one day. Really is remarkably well preserved up here. And just walking over here, I get more great views of Avignon and of the River Rhône and the Phillippe-le-Bel Tower that I was at this morning. But let's walk around the back of this building and see what we can discover inside these towers. I think that'll be very interesting. I think there's one more surprise to come. I've got a feeling there's something inside that's going to be very worthwhile. So let's just go down through this tower here and down the steps. I'm not sure whether it's easier going down the steps or going up them. This room here is the prisoner's interior courtyard. Along the floor, protected by glass plates, is some more graffiti, and some of it is really rather interesting. This graffiti is from the 18th and 19th century. Names, drawings and symbols denoting memberships of guilds. And this one looks as though it's Woodcutters Guild. It looks like he's got an axe in his hand and it's at a tree just above. I'm not quite sure. And in the window recess, let's walk round. There's more graffiti on the wall. Absolutely incredible seeing this. Some castles do have a lot of graffiti on their walls from former prisoners. There seems to be more in this castle than I've seen in a great many castles on my travels. But let's walk through this door here into the passageway. And this is the portcullis room. Hear the sound effect of the portcullis. You can see the gap ahead where, by the window, where the portcullis would have been raised and lowered. And the mechanism in here would have lowered it up and down. Probably weighed 5 or 6 tons. Maybe less. It's pretty interesting to see it. It's a great shame the portcullis hasn't survived. Very few castles have portcullises still in them, which is a shame. Wow. And then through here, this is the bread oven room. You can see behind me, there's a bread oven. Probably installed in 1629 during the outbreak of plague. And there's some more graffiti here in the window, dating 1626, 1627. More prisoners' graffiti. It's quite remarkable to think of all the people that would have been prisoners in this castle and what they were in here for. And there's some steps going up here into a little room. This is a food storage room. There's not much room in here. Wow. Let's go back out. A bit dark in there. Oh. And then we'll head down the steps. As I go down the steps, I see a privy. I found the privy. Oh, absolutely fantastic. There we go. Take a seat. There we go. Sitting on a medieval privy. But when the castle was built, they wouldn't have had necessarily had a door on the privy. It'd been open to view. Thank heaven for modern conveniences. But yeah, absolutely wonderful. Looking at the privy. Fortunately, it's blocked up. They've got a perspex lid on it, so otherwise I'm sure some people will be tempted to use it still. How fantastic is that? I had a feeling there was something else that I would discover. I found a blocked up privy earlier, and then seen the portcullis room, and this privy, absolutely brilliant. So let's walk down and see what else we can discover. I'm so glad I came here. To note that privies in medieval castles were simply holes in the wall, and everything that went into the privy went down a chute into the inside of the wall and collected on the outside, the bottom of the walls, bottom of the towers, and somebody would come along and empty it. That's what. And another little room here on the side. Sell to munitions room. As we put weapons here. Lovely old door on the wall and a recess as well. Really nice to see that. Do love these little rooms in castles. They really do show the ingenuity of the build design and thoughtful design of a castle, building in these little rooms. Absolutely lovely. But let's go back through this doorway and go down the stairs. Gosh. And it should go down to ground level. Yes, here we go. Just walk through here into the base of the other tower. It's just as remarkably well preserved as the one I went into this morning when I arrived at the castle. It really is incredible. They've lit it so well. can see the ceiling and the alcoves and the seating. Just imagine this place 700 years ago, when it was a functioning, working castle. Open fire in the fireplace, and everybody in here going about their business. Really is remarkably well preserved, this gatehouse, and probably one of the best preserved gatehouses that I've actually visited anywhere in Europe. It really is an absolute treat to be here, and what a day I've had walking through Villeneuve and the tower this morning, and now this castle. Absolutely fantastic. Right, let's go outside. Oh dear. Wow, I've had a fantastic time visiting that castle, and I'm sure to return to Avignon because I want to visit the Abbey as well. But I'm just not going to have time on this visit. I'm also going to look out for some other castles in France, because I'm fairly sure there are some other ones which are equally as impressive as that one. And if you happen to know of any, then drop a comment in the comment section below and let me know. But this is where I end this video. Please hit that subscribe button and follow my journey, because there's plenty more to come in this series and the next. So we'll see you tomorrow for a day in Avignon. Thanks for watching.